They said to be there by 7:30. On the dot. The message came from Daniel, my oldest son. It was brief, matter of fact. Dad, dress sharp. We've planned something special for your birthday. No exclamation marks, no emojis, just cold efficiency. I should have sensed something was off. The valet seemed puzzled when I pulled up. He stared at the car, then at me, like I didn't match the scene he expected. I handed over the keys anyway. The suit I wore made my skin crawl. I hadn't put it on since the day of the divorce proceedings. Inside, the place exhaled elegance, soft jazz drifting through the air, crystal glasses catching slivers of light. Black-clad servers moved like silent whispers. I scanned the room once. Then again. No family. No celebration. Just a booth tucked in the corner. And there she was, my ex-wife. Her hair pulled too tightly, her smile even more forced. Seated next to her was Gregory. Always buttoned up. Always carrying that look of polished superiority. He was the human version of a tax audit. When he noticed me, he raised a hand. Maybe somewhere a bit more affordable would have been a better fit, he said, half smiling, like I'd stumbled into a private art gallery without a ticket. I glanced at him, then at her. And I laughed. Not loudly, not crazily. A dry, hollow chuckle from somewhere deep that hadn't felt air in years. I walked past them without another word and headed straight to the host's stand. "Good evening," I said calmly. "Tell Lucien his uncle's arrived." The host blinked once before straightening his posture. "Of course, sir." They led me to a premium booth, quiet, commanding, overlooking the entire restaurant. The linens were too crisp, the kind that reeked of entitlement. I sat back and watched them watch me. Just 2 months ago, it felt like things were mending. Family dinners. Respectful messages. Even a birthday cake last year, both sons at my side. But then the missed calls started. Plans shifted. And Mia, my youngest, stopped saying Mom's husband and simply called him Greg. I didn't ask. At first. You learn to let silence guard your pride. But pride can only carry so much. At Daniel's graduation, it hit me, a moment so small and sharp it sliced clean. They gathered around Gregory, not me. He put his hand on Daniel's shoulder with quiet confidence, as if to mark territory. It wasn't envy I felt. It was erasure. A calm, creeping displacement. I looked at my son that day and saw not the boy I had raised, but someone performing affection. I went home and opened an old drawer, photos of birthday mornings, Christmas trees, a tiny hand clutching mine. That's when I realized I wasn't part of the story anymore. I was a footnote they no longer read. So I started watching. Who funded Daniel's new apartment? Why had Mia's school fees vanished from my monthly bank statements? Why didn't they ask me for anything anymore? Gregory. He was writing checks, investing in their loyalty like a long-term asset. I pulled Daniel's Venmo history using an old shared account we both forgot existed. Weekly payments labeled simply, from G. It wasn't parenting. It was replacing. And they were letting it happen. But the real confirmation came with the dinner. I called the restaurant the night before, pretending to be Mia. "Hi, just confirming a birthday reservation for Mr. Hayes." A pause. Then, "Sorry, there's nothing booked under that name." I hung up smiling. Because if they expected me to show up begging for a place at their table, I'd give them something better. They'd watch me build my own. Lucien, the owner, used to be a line cook under me back when I managed a crumbling French bistro downtown. He was green, clumsy, but full of fire. I gave him his shot. And he remembered. When I arrived and asked for him, he emerged from the kitchen like a storm in fine linen. "Uncle," he grinned. "Want the booth?" I nodded. He cleared it himself, set the table, laid the cutlery, then vanished without another word. From across the room, Gregory watched as a waiter served me a glass of Chateau Margaux. He leaned toward my ex-wife, whispered something. His expression shifted, pale, uneasy. I caught Daniel's glance. Then I watched him turn his head away. The table they never booked suddenly looked very small. They didn't walk over, not at first. It wasn't until dessert arrived, delivered personally by Lucien, a rare, off-menu souffle, that Gregory stood, hands behind his back, walking like a priest about to deliver bad news. "Nice spot," he offered. I dabbed my mouth, set the napkin down, and looked him square in the eye. "You know what strategic starvation is?" I asked. He blinked. "What?" "It's when someone gives just enough to keep you dependent, but never enough to let you thrive." He said nothing. I kept going. "That's what you did to my children. You spoon-fed your charity until they stopped needing me." He opened his mouth. I raised a hand. "You don't get a say." I slid a folded napkin across the table. Inside, a photocopy of Daniel's tuition statement, signed, paid in full by Gregory. "You didn't win them," I said. "You bought silence." I rose, buttoned my jacket. "And now you can keep them." I left the dessert untouched, never looked back at their table. Outside, the cold air clung to me like a second skin. Or maybe that numbness was coming from inside. The valet brought the car around slowly, unsure whether to speak or stay silent. I didn't care. In the mirror, I caught my own reflection, eyes not angry, not sorrowful, just missing. They tried to write me out of the narrative. So I rewrote the ending, one they won't forget. I never needed their table. I just needed them to remember I could flip it and walk away as it burned.